Hello and welcome to episode 4 of our Last of Us 2 spoiler breakdown here on Games Over Plastic. We join us each week as we break down each episode of The Last of Us season 2. Obviously this is a very special episode, so if you have not watched episode 4, I would suggest pausing the video and going to watch the episode. Or if you're just like, screw it, I like to just break. I don't like to watch it. I just like to hear three guys talk about the show. That's fine too. Before we get into the overall breakdown of the episode, this is Games Over Plastic, a special video game podcast in which we break down all things video games. We come at you each and every other week, a nice bi-weekly podcast with various topics. Our latest episode, we talked about our biggest video game disappointments. All three of us spewed about how much we hate the platformer that is Mario. That's a joke, because I love Mario. No, yeah, that was our very special episode. You can go find that out. But yeah, if you are interested in us, if it's your first time ever just discovering us, that's just what we do. We have bi-weekly episodes. Oftentimes we might have very special episodes like this one, or other episodes that come out every week. For example, this week, Hodge and I will be doing a spoiler cast for Claire Obscure Expedition 33. You can check that out. We'll be recording that Saturday, so it should be a good time. But yeah, you can if you're watching this on YouTube, we also come at you in audio form on all podcast formats, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, wherever you get your podcasts. I don't know.
GOP is back in POG form.
Yeah. Find it on your Tesla. If you're driving your Tesla around, you probably have some podcast app on there.
Yeah, John, with your new Model Y.
I know, the car did look cool.
Yeah, it does. Sweet.
Yeah. But yeah, so we're gonna get right into breaking down the episode here. Watchers, listeners, leave us a review. Also, leave us some comments about what you think about the episode, because we'd love to read some comments about what you guys are thinking about the season. Yep.
Speaking of which, I wanted to say that we had a comment last episode that I wanted to read. I forgot to do it last episode because I said that I want to read like other people's comments on our show. But last week, our buddy Broadwick wrote in saying, "What do Joel and Andrew Ryan have in common? They both hate the 9-iron." So,
there you go.
Oh, actually, Abby wasn't using a 9-iron. Actually, I have no freaking idea. She probably was.
I have no idea what club she used.
I've gone golfing 3 times in my life, and one time it was freaking $400 or $450 because it was in Hawaii and it was a lot of money.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, what stuff I do for my brother-in-law. It actually was a really nice course. Some people from the Masters, like who had like played in the Masters like years ago, were golfing right behind us. Oh, they flew right by us. We let them go.
I'm sure.
It was pretty funny. But let's get into the episode here. So before we break it down, we always give our like initial thoughts. So we're gonna start Midnight. Initial thoughts on season 2, episode 4.
I would rate this episode a 6.9 out of 10. 69. No, I thought it was a good episode. I enjoyed it. If I was going to give it a numbered score, I would say maybe like an 8 out of 10 or so. I like the slower, world building, plot driving episodes. I don't mind those, especially since I don't have any clue really what's going to happen other than the ending of the game. I saw the ending of the game, but everything that happens in between, I don't know exactly what's going to happen. So I like that they're building the narrative in the world for me. So that is good. My only complaint with this episode was Bella Ramsey, but we'll get into that later. So we'll get into that later when we break down specific parts. But overall, I did enjoy the episode, and happy to be here.
All right, Hodge, what about you? What do you think?
It's really sad because I am now at the point where I'm thinking the game did it better, and I'm not a fan of the game, so that's not a good sign for the TV show.
Interesting.
I wasn't huge. I liked Isaac's introduction and stuff, which we'll obviously get to, and obviously that actor is a phenomenal actor, so I love seeing him in the show. The Ellie and Dina stuff, wasn't a fan of really any of it. But yeah, I don't know, and I don't like how they're changed what's going on in Seattle from the game. So I don't know. We'll get into it when we get into the episode. But yeah, I wasn't huge on this episode. Honestly, I think it might be the weakest so far. I'm hoping that this isn't just going to become a downward spiral of me not liking the show each week. But yeah, I didn't. For some reason, I liked the setup episode, last episode, more than this one. But yeah, I don't know. We'll get into it as we go through the episode, though.
All right. My overall thoughts. I really enjoyed this episode. It's actually, I think it's my second favorite episode behind episode 2. I thought that I loved the whole Isaac introduction. I thought it was really cool. Shout out to Josh Peck.
Yeah.
Being in it. That was so weird. And the way he says, he said something like he used to say stuff in Drake and Josh. Like he had that like, oh,
Yeah.
like that, like the way he said it, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's Drake and Josh. It was pretty funny. I was waiting for some meme to pop up from someone in our Discord about like him as Josh from the show doing something. I thought it was funny. I loved the whole, he gets out and he just throws the grenade in the tank. That was awesome.
Mhm.
I thought I really enjoyed the overall the way they handled the Seattle part right now so far. I know this is a not a hot take, but not a popular take amongst the people I've talked to. I liked the way that Ellie revealed to Dina that she was immune. I actually really liked that.
Mhm.
I thought it was I thought it was strong. I also really love the interrogation scene with Isaac and the Seraphite. I thought it was awesome. And he's taking the
Mhm.
copper and he's just burning him, and you can you just hear ah. And it shows how loyal the Seraphites are, that he would not give anyone up either. And Isaac knew it, so he just put a bullet in his head. Said, this is not going to waste any more of my time. But yeah, overall, really liked it. Midnight, I'd say I would agree. Or if I don't like to score things, but I'd say it's around an 8.5 or a 9 for me this
Mhm.
episode.
So where does that fit on the anchovy to bacon scale then?
Anchovy to bacon scale. I think
Like
it's
onion,
much
maybe?
close. I'd say it's much closer to bacon than it is anchovies. Okay, we'll say that.
Canadian bacon.
So like pepperoni or onion kind
So
of
you mean
territory?
ham? You mean ham?
Yeah, ham.
Canadian bacon ham.
Right.
Yeah.
Ham.
I
don't know. This is a tough one, because depending on the mood, I like various pizza toppings.
Mm-hmm.
Really depends on the mood. Like to me, bacon would be like probably like an 8.5 or a 9. So I'd say this is the bacon, but to me, a 10 is like that, like barbecue chicken or a buffalo. I'm a big chicken on pizza guy.
Okay.
So like
I
that
can get
would
down
be
with
a
that.
10 to me.
Chicken and bacon pizza.
That is good.
So
I've never done like I've wanted to do like chicken bacon ranch, like buffalo chicken bacon ranch.
So good.
Like yeah. Like I want to
So
try that, but then like if I make that, like no one else in my family is gonna want that.
Yeah.
That's the problem. No, because my dad so anytime I make pizza, this is a side tangent. We gotta get into this stuff. You always notice I always make a bacon pineapple pizza. There's always that. That's always because that's like the only topping my dad will pick. He's like, I want the bacon pineapple. But he won't eat chicken on pizza. And so I'm like, well, kind of that.
That's crazy, man.
I don't know. My dad is like very varied, but when it comes to pizza toppings, he's like, this is what I like. I like my bacon, and I like my bacon pineapple pizza. I'm like, all right, Dad.
I mean, that sounds better than pineapple ham. I'd rather have pineapple bacon. So
I've never had pineapple ham. I'm not a ham. I've had ham on pizza before. I'm not a ham on pizza guy.
yeah, like Hawaiian pizza
older
is
brother was-
ham and pineapple, right? I think so.
My older
Yeah,
brother
it
was
is.
actually a ham and pineapple person when we were growing up. That's what his toppings were. Not bad, but definitely not what I'd go for.
Yeah.
Fun fact: when I was 4 years old, I was eating pineapple on pizza, and I swallowed the pineapple whole without chewing it. And Yeah, I didn't eat pizza for about 4 years after that.
I usually just get pepperoni, but it's hard to beat like a pepperoni bacon onion pizza. That's always solid.
Pepperoni bacon. Yeah.
Onion. I love onion. Anyways,
I don't mind it, but
all right. Take it away, Sean.
Yeah, so the episode opens up, as we alluded to, with Isaac's little backstory. It's 2018, and it opens up in they're driving on the tank through Seattle, and it's just a bunch of the Fedra soldiers, and we get Josh Peck. Nice little Josh Peck. He gets his little I wonder how much money that must have cost to get Josh Peck. Probably a lot of money. And they're joking around about how they torture normal citizens and how they took the rights away of normal citizens, calling them voters because they can't vote. And right away you see that Isaac is different. He's the leader of those Federal soldiers, but you can already tell he is very almost sympathetic to the regular citizens, because he's like, because one of them asks like, why do we call them voters, and he's basically like, because we took their rights away, that's why. And everyone kind of goes silent, and they know he acts very different. And then when we come across a group of soldiers, well, just a group of like refugees, and Isaac immediately breaks protocol and he says, "Nope." You guys listen to me. I'm your commander. He gets out, and he goes out and he basically talks to them, and he kind of gets the code word from them. And when he gets that code word, he turns around. He gets that one guy out who knows that he kind of knows, like, oh, this guy is a little different than the rest of them, and he chucks those grenades in there, and the guy's like, "What the heck's going on? What are you doing?" Josh Peck's face, like, "No!" And he kills him, blows him up. Yeah, I thought this scene was awesome. I thought it was a really great setup to who Isaac was. I think it goes to show you that at first he was totally against what Fedra was doing and how they were treating citizens, and I think it shows how much in the future how much he's changed, or his core beliefs, because now he's obviously one of the leaders of the WLF, the Wolf, and he's treating the Seraphites basically how Fedra used to treat normal citizens, if not even worse, considering what we kind of saw. What do you guys think of the opening here?
Thought it was awesome. I don't know who this guy you're talking about is, Josh Peck. I don't know who the fuck that is. I had to look it up. I still don't know.
Yeah,
he's the one who's telling the story.
It's because you're like 90.
I mean, yeah, I don't know who this weirdo is, but I remember him from the episode. He was the guy talking shit and telling the story. The story was decent. But yeah, no, I thought it was a good introduction to Isaac. Is that his name? Obviously, I don't know this dude, but he seems cool. Very stoic, sympathetic to the cause of the common man, which, I am a common man, so I respect that, I enjoyed it. I don't know, were those the wolves that were coming up there, like the beginning of the wolves anyway? All the civilians.
Yeah. So it's funny because like Isaac in the game is not in it like a ton. He's in some scenes, and you get how brutal he is, but you get a lot of like the brutality and a lot of his backstory through random documents you find throughout, like little things that you can read. And there's a lot about how Fedra was fighting with the wolves, basically throughout the time before you got to Seattle and the time that the Fedra was overthrown by the wolves. And there's a lot of documents, so you get like little things here and there like this. But seeing this was awesome. I thought actually seeing it was really powerful. Hodge, what do you think?
Yeah, I really liked this opening. I will say, I guess obviously you're not supposed to like Josh Peck's character, because the whole time he's telling this story, I'm like, this guy's such a dick, and he needs to shut up. But no, I really loved, obviously it was very clear from the start that it was just a way to set up that, like, we were at the point in this, like, obviously this is what, people try to do in the real world too, where they try and basically dehumanize the people you're like against, quote unquote. Yeah. Even though these guys are supposed to be obviously government people protecting the citizens, they've turned into just an authoritarian, dictatorship of a government. So it was really cool seeing Isaac be like, we call them voters because we took away their rights and we treat them as lesser, basically. And everyone's like, oh, like, ugh. And so I really like that he's telling this story, basically, you know, basically treating these people like they're animals. And there is that one guy, like you said, who he had come out of the truck with him, who's in there just kind of like nervously smiling, like, is this supposed to be funny? Or like, is this supposed to be like, really, this is what we think of our people kind of thing? And so when they get out of the truck, and then, yeah, Isaac, obviously, he's been on his way and probably, you know, talking with the wolves about joining and stuff. So then he kind of proves his loyalty of being like, yep, I'm one of you guys, and just nukes everyone. And that other guy joins, which I thought it was so cool that he shows up later. Basically, he's turned into what he didn't want to be when he was in Fedra, where he's treating the others like dirt, basically. And so I thought that was cool, like a little bit of show of growth of that character, or like an arc of that character. But yeah, it was a really good opening. Like I said, I really liked. I've honestly, because I've wiped most of part 2 out of my memory, I completely forgot who Isaac was and like what he does in the game. So I'm kind of relearning him with the show. But yeah, it was a really, really good opening to introduce us to Isaac. So yeah, I liked it.
Well, like I said, in the game, he's not really in it a lot. A lot of it is more of just reading documents. You get a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't
through the
remember him being
documents.
like a big part of it, but yeah.
But yeah, and then it, you know, after that, it flash forwards, you know, 11 years, and we get the part where Dina and Ellie are scavenging through the little, basically a convenience store, and they're looking looking for medicine, and then we get the whole Dina thing. She spots something that they don't show the audience. She's like, "Oh, I'll be right there," and obviously I knew
what it was.
Yeah, well, you knew like even before.
I saw that coming. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was like, like, she's pregnant. I knew it.
Yeah.
Yeah, my girlfriend said the same thing. She's like, "Is she pregnant?" I'm like,
because when they didn't show what it was, then I started to realize that her "I'm about to take a piss" was actually a meaningful thing and not a cover story. I was like, oh, she probably found the pregnancy kits.
Yeah, and she was getting sick.
And my girlfriend noticed that she puked twice, and so she's like, she's pregnant.
That too.
Yeah. They actually make it more predictable in the game, because she's sick a lot more in the game at the beginning, like, because they reveal it a lot quicker in this. Like, they reveal it like throughout. I mean, day one's a lot longer in the game, but throughout day one, she's like constantly sick. There's a point where she's like, "Oh, Ellie, I can't. I'm gonna wait right here. I'm really tired. I'm really fatigued in the game." So they make it a lot more obvious in the game. But yeah, this is pretty obvious. But yeah, she finds the pregnancy test, she takes it, but obviously it's not revealed till later. So then we're out in Seattle, and Ellie and sorry, I'm like, what happens immediately after that? I cannot.
They're walking through the town, and
they find the
there's
tank.
a bunch of pride flags.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yes. They find the tank, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I've never seen the tank before." And then they basically discover all those dead bodies, and Ellie's like, "Wow, this is like." They basically thought it was like Fedra attacking Fedra, when in reality it was.
And there was pride flags, as Hodge brought up, which makes sense because it is the Pacific Northwest. So
yeah.
I did think it was funny when she says, "Oh, it must be a really peaceful town," and they get out there and there's all those dead bodies. She's like, "Yeah, I don't think it's that peaceful."
Yeah. These like loving rainbow people weren't that lovable or whatever. Like she says like some comment like that. Yeah. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, and so then they're like, "Oh, wish we could start first," and then they see the giant tower with the WLF logo on it, and Ellie's like, "Oh, gun ho!" She's like, "We gotta go right now," and Dina's like, "No, we're not good. Like, that's obviously we walk right in there. They're gonna know we're coming. First of all, people who advertise that, they probably are ready for people to come and see them."
Yeah, Dina's smart. Ellie's a retard. So.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, well, I don't like these characters because they're basically the same people, but I do like that Ellie is kind of like, she's so gung-ho on getting revenge for Joel that she's not thinking, and Dina has to be like, yo, slow down. We gotta think about this. Like, Obviously, like she said, yeah, like you said, they're up in a tower. They're gonna see us coming. We have to wait till it's dark out, and that we can like sneak in. So I like that she is kind of being level headed about it.
Yep.
Even though she should have pregnancy brain and be stupid, but whatever.
Um,
I don't know if it works that way. I don't think you just instantly become an idiot.
I know. I'm just kidding.
and then does it? I did
They
want to
go
talk
into the
about
music store after that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But do we get that interrogation scene first with Isaac first? Was that next or was that before that? It's right around here.
No, they go into the music shop first.
Okay, so they go to the music shop and Ellie finds a guitar and she plays the Take on Me, which I think is actually really funny that's one of like the first songs she learns in guitar, because when I was in music class in 4th grade, we all we're supposed to learn how to play guitar. Obviously I never did, but that's the first song they try to teach us. I guess it's like a pretty easy song to kind of learn how to play.
Easy. I've never played it
on
but
acoustic guitar, and I think it's funny. And then we get she starts playing it. Dina walks up there and she is mesmerized. By Ellie, and she's listening to her, and she starts singing to her. And yeah, I thought it was a really I did think it was a nice, powerful scene. It kind of shows where they are in the relationship. It also is a throwback to Joel, because Joel was the one teaching her how to play guitar, and I think it brought memories back to both Ellie and Dina about how much they miss Joel.
I did think it was funny how they're like, are you stupid? We have to lay low. We'll go in on foot at night. And then they're laying down. She starts like playing drums in a store and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, we're really laying low here playing drums.
I mean, I would assume though, like music shops like that will probably be soundproof, built like,
No, probably not.
I doubt
but it's because when she loudly opened the tank, they knew there was nothing nearby.
At that time, there was nothing nearby, but Patrol could have gone by at any time. She's like, playing drums.
It was definitely stupid
Not smart,
for them to do that. But yeah, the point of it was that they knew there was nothing nearby because she slammed open the tank door. So that's why. But I thought my favorite part of this scene, well, there's two things. It's funny because when she walks upstairs, there's just the perfect light right there on that like cabinet. And I'm just like,
definitely right out of a video game.
Yeah, I started laughing and my girlfriend's like, what are you laughing about? I go, that perfect stage lighting right there. And then of course, she sits down right in the light. And then I did the thing that was the most real about this scene was as she was playing, because this happens to me all the time. If someone's like walks in while I'm playing, I just kind of stop and look at them and like, no, keep going. Because I don't know, it's just like a self-conscious thing. But so that made me laugh. But I think they I don't know, maybe Bella Ramsey can sing, but I feel like they did a little computer work there because she sounded a little better than I would have thought. Obviously, Ashley Johnson sounds way better, but she did pretty good singing that if that was her. So props to her if she did sing that. But
that was auto-tune. You could tell it was like synthesized sound on her voice.
Yeah,
but,
and then
I'm sure someone will find out.
Yeah, it's just so funny. Also, I just can't get over the fact that this actress who is like basically a supermodel is mesmerized by this Mrs. Potato Head playing guitar. Like, just every actor doesn't have to be gorgeous, but just the fact that she's so smitten over Bella Ramsey, I'm just like, okay, let's
views on the inside, Hodge.
Yeah, we'll get to that. I got bars for that.
That's
but
true.
I'm
I guess
it
I have
for
a
the
girlfriend
scene upcoming.
Yeah, it's true. I have a girlfriend and I'm ugly, so here we go. But now we get to the interrogation scene from Isaac.
And yeah, I thought this was a really good scene. It opens up, Isaac's talking about how, you want to impress a woman, you gotta cook for her. He's like, I know, I always dreamed about getting these pots and these pans, but I never, I finally get my wish, not the way I wanted it though. Perks of the apocalypse. And then he picks it up and he starts like, basically, he's given the Seraphite. He keeps calling them scars, and the guy corrects him. He's like, "No, it's a Seraphite."
I forgot that they called them that in the game.
I did too for a while, and then I remember like, "Oh yeah, he said the wolves called them scars," which is funny because for the most part, they like gave them a lot of the scars too. He also points out how not uncivilized, but how like less civilized they are, how they like rely on, you know, bolt action rifles and bow and arrows. He also alludes to the giant civil war that they were having, or the giant war they were having, and how there was a truce, and then one side broke the truce, but neither side really wants to admit who broke it. Because
Mhm.
Isaac was like, "No, you guys attacked us," and he's like, "No, you attacked us." He's like, "It doesn't matter." He's like, "Well, you killed our kids." Yeah, well, your kids were killing our kids, and it's like,
Yeah.
neither side wants to admit who's right or who's wrong. When in reality, it was probably like, you know, both of them probably really didn't ever want to stop, and they probably were just like, screw it, we're just gonna attack each other again. But yeah, he basically tortures them. He you know, wants information out of them. He's trying to figure out where they're going, where they're gonna show up again. It's funny. He says, "Where are you gonna attack again?" But in the scene where we saw last episode, where they were traveling, they were kind of running away, like trying to get away from them. Not like we need to avoid them. So it's kind of like, you know, which side are you on? Are you gonna believe? Um, and he was also alluding to the fact that like he's like, you follow this prophet who's just a person. She's not. There's nothing special about her. Showing again the difference between the two sides. And when Isaac finally realizes that he's not going to get anything out of him, he just
He
picks
just
up the
shoots
gun
him.
and shoots him right in the head.
Yeah. Well, I liked that moment because like he thinks he's gonna torture him again, and he turns around the pot, and the guy already has his hand out because he's like, "All right, just do it." And so he realizes like, "Oh, I'm not gonna get anything from this guy," and just.
Yep.
But then, yeah, it had that, like I said earlier, the guy who was like the nice guy on the truck that he let off, and all of a sudden now, 11 years later, he's just like fucking animal like thing. So it was a really good moment of having that guy showing just basically what this life can do to people. And obviously it's the whole thing of, because it's supposed to be a little bit of a parallel thing of how Abby and Ellie both have their side of the story, whilst the Seraphites and the Wolves have their sides of the
Yeah.
story. So it's the whole thing of there's always two stories to every, or two sides to
to a
every.
story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
So
the truth is somewhere in the middle.
yeah. So I wonder
Yeah.
if this episode is just going to completely just keep throwing that down your throat. How the first season, every single episode was just like, Joel, you need to take care of your loved ones, treat her like a daughter. So I wonder if this one, every episode's gonna be, there's two sides to every story. There's two sides to every story.
Yeah. I also I think it goes to show you with that guy, like you were saying, it goes to show you like what power can do to you. Like
Yeah.
it can completely change
Yeah.
like their entire personality.
What's that phrase? Complete power corrupts or whatever.
Absolute power
Yeah.
corrupts. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
like I said, I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So then next is obviously nighttime. They get to the place and they're like,
Yep.
how'd we get it there?
And then so they see they see the blood first, and then they go in through the window, and when they get in there, the wolves are already in there. They encounter all these bodies, and they're destroyed. They're killed by the scars. They're wolves that were killed by the scars. They see the arrows in them. So again, now that we've seen the brutality done by the wolves, now we're seeing the other side of it, how the scars can also be, well, the Seraphites can also be brutal.
Mhm.
We see that one soldier with the 3 or 4 arrows just sticking in him. Like, oh my god! And then we get in there, and there's all those wolves just like hanging, and
Yeah,
oh
bound
my
and
god,
hung and
yeah.
and
Did
what
you
was
see
it
that
called?
one guy? It looks like that one guy had like his insides like
They
were
all five of
spewing out
them,
of him.
all 5 guys were disemboweled. Yeah, their
Yeah,
guts were hanging out, all of them.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
And then we get the scene legitimately right out of the video game where first they find the walkie-talkie, and she's like, oh, she must have called for backup. Oh, they're already here. We gotta hide. That's like that's such out of a video game where it's like, oh, we gotta go hide behind here. We gotta stay quiet. But if they discover us, it'll be an all-out battle. But if not, we gotta try to sneak up and sneak around them. Yeah, so the wolves come in, and we get the whole they're hiding. Dina hides right underneath the like basically in between like a little
She's
like an
under a
opening
desk,
space.
basically.
Yeah, opening a
Yeah.
desk, and she narrowly avoids the guy. Ellie runs up to the upstairs. She's trying to find a way out. Sees the window, but then the other guy comes up there, and basically she takes him down and attacks him. But that's when obviously at that point, all the wolves know that they're there, and they're in trouble, and they got to figure out a way to get out.
Yeah, which is basically, well, first before we get into the what happens after, it was once again a thing of this little midget girl takes down a guy over a foot taller than her. This dude is way in shape. There's no way in hell she would have been able to chokehold him like that. And then, like, it would have been more realistic because at the end, when Dina does shoot out the window and they start running out the window, she stabs him in the neck to kill him. She should have just done that from the beginning, got up on his back and stabbed him in the neck, because that would have been more realistic than her, judo chopping him down. And like that, I can't suspend my disbelief with that. Like, she can't take down guys that size. It's not happening. She can do it with a weapon, but she's not overpowering anyone.
It's Trevor's rage power from GTA 5.
Yeah. But yeah, then that was basically right out of the game, where you're running away and you're having to cut corners because there's guys flanking, because they know obviously they know the area better than them, so they're kind of outflanking them, and then they get down into the subway.
Yeah.
But Midnight, you have anything to say about that before we get to the subway?
I mean, not really. I thought that was a cool scene. When they walked in there and you see all the wolves hanging.
Yeah.
It was cool set piece. Shows you that the Seraphites are able to fight back and are pretty brutal in their own right. They had up on the wall. I forget what did it say on the wall, like
something. Well, it said something WLF.
No, it said like
reap what you sow or something. I don't know, something like that.
See.
Oh, no, I thought you were talking about the symbol.
Feel her love. Feel her love.
Feel her love. I knew it was some religious bullshit. So, so that was up there. I thought that was cool, and it was tense, and they escaped. Yeah, I thought it was cool. Not a whole lot to say. Just a cool scene that builds the whole fight. I was wondering, like, how the hell is Ellie and Dina going to be able to take down all these wolves? But now I'm starting to figure it out. Like, there's going to be a battle between the Seraphites and the wolves, and they're going to use that to their advantage, is my guess. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, and their whole motive isn't to kill. Their whole motive is to kill that group that was there, not like take down.
Yeah, not wipe out the wolves.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's also cool because they did this in the game, which we'll get to in this next scene. But I liked that in part of the game where in the first game it was kind of either you were in a level and you're fighting against the infected or you're fighting against people. But in the second game, you could use infected to kill people. Like, you could have them basically fight each other to keep yourself hidden, and that was such a cool thing cool mechanic in the game, which I thought they dropped the ball with in this next scene. But so yeah, next they get down. I found it funny that they crawl in through this little tiny hole through the door, and it just manages to be a tunnel down there. It's like there's no dead end. It's just, it's a perfect tunnel to get down.
Also, I thought it was weird that, like, when they looked inside the tunnel, they looked inside where they crawled in. Like, why wouldn't they go to start shooting in there? Like, just go and start shooting.
They definitely didn't make it that far. He could easily just look down into the hole and just start shooting. And
even if he doesn't see them, just start shooting.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know what I really find cool though? When I have a when Dina does a thing where she's like 1, 2, and she's counting out. That is like the equivalent to, in the game, the listening mode.
Yeah,
like when you're listening and you can see. I think that's pretty. I thought it was a pretty good idea.
Yeah, it would have been
count
better.
Was way off though. She's like, she only counted 5, and then there was like 105.
No, obviously she knew, once she hit 5, she's like, all right, I'm gonna stop now.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought it would have been really cool if she did kind of like stop at 4 or whatever, and then there were just like 4. The fact that it was yet again another swarm, I'm like, come on,
way too many, too many infected.
Yeah, because in the game there was a bunch eventually, but it was never an entire World War Z swarm of zombies. It was.
I mean, we had our scenes in the game with a ton.
I feel like they did it well, because in this one also they weren't really it was once they start running out, which is when obviously she gets in the game, she breathes in the spore, she doesn't get bit, but they're leaving and there was a bunch that they're escaping. But when they were doing it while they're in the train, I was just like, this is another one of these moments. It just feels Walking Dead to me, where it's like we need an excessive amount of zombies just to up the stakes of the scene. And it's like, it would be fine if the first episode, if they didn't make such a mockery of clickers of just them being like the knife in the throat, like the thing, like it would have made more sense to that they'd be scary, because I feel like infected in this game or in the show aren't scary unless they're in numbers anymore, and that wasn't the case in the game. Like if you walked into a room with 5 clickers, you were like, oh crap, how am I gonna get out of this? And now it seems like it's just like a minor inconvenience.
I don't know. I think moving forward we're gonna see more of that. I think when we start seeing more of these stalkers, like they showed in that that actually did freak out Ellie, I think we're gonna see more of those scenes where there's fewer infected, but it's gonna cause a lot of fear. But yeah, moving on. When they escape, obviously, they're trying to get through the door. Ellie saves Dina by basically taking
Okay.
the bite for her.
All right,
Yep.
hold on. Before you go that far, I had some thoughts on the scene in there.
Subway.
Yeah, so I thought a couple issues that I had with the scene. First of all, I thought it was retarded and didn't make any sense that they other than for TV reasons, that they come in and start throwing flares everywhere. First of all, like they're in the apocalypse, that you don't just have unlimited flares. Like, why are you wasting flares when you could just shine
hang on,
light at people?
You're gonna find out why they have so much supplies later. You'll find out
Okay.
why.
All right. Well, I thought that was stupid, and of course, because of the flare, it ends up attracting the swarm because of those stupid fucking vines or whatever. I don't know why they're throwing flares when they could have just used their flashlights. But anyway,
To make it look cool. But no, with that scene, I liked, because again they are doing we have to actually do the ground route thing that they established in the first season. So I kind of liked that it did that, but I liked, because in the game, obviously I don't want to rate it based on my thoughts on the game, but I liked this scene in the game because there's a bunch of them down there, but they know to be quiet because it's just the clickers that come in. So they start hiding, and you as Ellie throw a bottle near a bad guy so that the clicker runs and kills the bad guy. And it's like, I wish they would have done something like that, to where it was just some clickers and you're able to guide it to, like, the fact that these army guys should have been smart enough to know. Well, one, it was really stupid that they heard like a couple of them coming when Dina's counting, and they're like, I thought it was empty. It's like, oh, well, it was. And all of a sudden it's like there's an army of them. It's like, you missed a whole army of these things. Like, come on. But
I think you could attribute to that to in the show, where if one of the spores goes off, it kind of attracts more of them, like from other places.
yeah,
Maybe
but how
that.
do they get in? Is the thing. Like,
I mean, they got in.
If it's
They all both sides got in pretty easily.
yeah.
I do think they're overusing the amount of infected.
Yeah,
I think
feel
it's
like
losing its impact if you're just constantly throwing like 200 at all the time.
yeah, but I just think that this could have been done better. It should have been more strategic rather than, oh, there's a whole swarm, let's get out of here kind of thing. But I was actually surprised that when they showed the previews for the next episode, that's when the spores are going to become a thing. I really thought that's how they were. I really thought that's how they were going to do it with this episode, because like I said, in the game, it's Ellie's gas mask cracks and she breathes in spores, which is how Dina finds out, rather than her getting just straight up bit. So I thought they were going to do with that, which that's not a complaint. That's just an observation. But yeah, I wasn't huge on the scene, but then obviously we get out and they get to the theater.
Yeah. So yeah, the next they get out, Ellie took the bite for Dina, and then Dina's like freaked out, like, what am I gonna do here? Does Ellie even realize she was bit? And you can see the distraught on Dina's face, like, what the heck do I do? Like, basically the person I love just got bit. I have no idea what I'm gonna do. I know what I have to do, but I don't want to have to do it. And she points the gun at her, and Ellie's like, whoa, what are you doing? She's like, no, I promise I'm not infected. I promise. And I thought it was a pretty good way to show that, like, listen, I'm immune. Listen, you can sit me down on this couch. You can sit there with a gun pointed at me. I will basically tie myself to this chair, and if I turn, shoot me. But I know I'm not going to.
Yeah, I did like that, because it was even though I kind of liked, again, not to use always the game as my base for review, but I like in the game that it was basically when they had their scene that didn't happen, where they hook up in Eugene's place and they're just telling stories about the scars they have, and Ellie's like, my forearm one is because I got bit, but I'm immune and I covered it with a burn so no one would know. And like, she just laughs it off like, you're full of shit. Like, haha, funny, very funny. Why would you say that? so that they didn't have that moment of like, no, I was telling the truth. It was she basically they had to rework it, and I just feel like it didn't work as well because if she had mentioned to her that she was immune before, she could say no, like seriously, I'm immune. But instead in this, she just has to be like, I'm immune, don't shoot me, please. Like it just felt a little more rushed to show her that she's immune than it was in the game, and so I wasn't huge on that part.
Hodge,
But
as a hater of the game, you have a lot of things you like about
I know.
true.
Well, again, like I said this to Locke when we did the episode. I didn't hate the game when I finished it. I just didn't like it, and the overpraise has made me hate it more and more over time.
Overpraised, it's over. I think it's either overpraised or overhated. There's no in between.
I just think it's fine, and I don't think it's like a top 10 game of all time like some people act. But I thought the game was absolutely fine. I do kind of want to go back and play it or try again because of the Isaac stuff. Me not remembering that, I'm like, I do want to remember because I don't remember too much about the wolf part because I just didn't like it. Whereas the Ellie part, I really did actually enjoy in the game. So I kind of want to go back, but yeah, we'll see. But anyway, yeah. So she says, "I'll go to sleep," and then we move on from there. Ben, maybe anything before that? Before we move on?
Yeah, so I mean, I didn't play the game, as we know. I thought it was pretty awesome how they handled it. I loved it. I like how she saved Ellie, or she saved Dina. She gets bit in the process, and yeah, Dina's freaking out, like, "Oh shit, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna have to kill her." Like she got bit, and then like, "No, I'm immune. Chill, watch." So that was cool. And then finally, when she realizes that she actually is immune, because Ellie like wakes up and like the wound's not even like infected at all and she's still human, she's like, okay, I'm immune, okay, I'm pregnant. And then they start scissoring.
Okay, here's the thing I know people are gonna, I already know you guys criticize
You don't
this,
know what
but
I'm
you
gonna
guys
say.
well, I know Hodge doesn't like this. Think about it. Dina, the person she absolutely she's in love with Ellie, the person she loves, for about 24, not 24, for about probably a span of 7-8 hours, she thought, oh my god, I'm gonna have to kill the person I love. And then she finally realizes, oh my god, I'm not gonna have to. I'm in love with this person. You're gonna be overthought with emotion. Also, they're 19. There's probably freaking hormones going crazy. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe it. I don't have to kill her now. The hormones take over. I'm telling you, it's a pretty natural young adult teenage reaction for this to happen.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie,
I thought it was realistic.
very realistic.
I agree. Other than it was, see, I'm immune. I'm pregnant. Let's fuck. Like it was. If you had just taken out the "I'm pregnant" part, I would have been okay with it because it's a weird thing to be like, "I'm pregnant. Let's get it on." Like, because
I liked it because
Yeah.
she's like, look, you have a secret. You're immune. You just told me that. Well, I have a secret too. I just found out earlier today that I'm pregnant. So
I didn't like it in the game either, but I thought it was at least handled better in the game because in that she just instantly starts calling her a liability. She's going to weigh it down. She shouldn't be there. And that's the more accurate reaction to if someone tells you they're pregnant and you're going on what could be a suicide mission. But instead it's because in the game I didn't like it because it was basically like, I'm immune, and she goes, well, I'm pregnant, and I was like, it's not the same thing. But in this, it was just, I'm pregnant, and then they instantly start boning. I'm just like, I would have been like, whoa, wait, what? You're what? You're pregnant? And I understand like the hormones taking over, and I understand it's okay. And she even says it later. She goes, I thought I was going to lose you, and I'm not going to let my chance slip. Like, I do get that. It's not a bad thing. It's just putting it just 1, 2, 3 in a row in basically in the span of 5 seconds. I was like, not big on that.
I also like that they had the wherewithal to like not go into like the full on show everything either. Like it was just like a very quick. It was a span of maybe 3 or 4, not even like 3 minutes. It just spanned it and they pan out. Whereas in other HBO shows, if you've seen Oz, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, like Game of Thrones, like just going full on lovemaking scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Oz.
One thing that I've noticed with HBO, especially, and with modern TV and Hollywood, they seem to love to show dicks Like, I don't know if you noticed, but we saw a dick.
Oh,
We saw a
yes.
dick earlier in
With
this
the
episode with the
yeah, with
interrogation.
the
So
yeah,
they love to show dicks, but they don't want to show any tits or anything. That's for damn sure lately. And I'm not just talking about this show. This is just something that I've noticed lately. Like, there's a lot of male nudity and not much female
Yeah.
nudity anymore.
Go
And I
watch
don't
the
know why
White
that
Lotus.
is.
I'm telling
But,
you, White Lotus, same thing. In the White Lotus, same thing.
HB, like it's
I watched
but
one
I didn't
episode.
want to see nudity, especially I don't want to see Ellie nude at all. That's for damn sure. So I was glad that they spared us with that. Now Dina naked, I wouldn't mind seeing, but anyway,
it's all obviously they have to sign a clause, and obviously these actors refuse to sign that clause. Otherwise, I'm sure they would have. And like that's the thing. There's a scene in the game that I'm wondering if they're going to show that in the show, but I don't.
That'll be season 3.
are you talking about you're talking about the sex scene or whatever?
Yeah. I'm not gonna say who the sex scene is between. Obviously, I'm sure you've seen it in meme form.
Yeah,
Midnight, but
meme form.
I'm not gonna say it to spoil it with anyone. But I don't think those actors are going to sign that clause, so I don't think it's going to happen. But yeah.
So are we covering the lesbian scene now? Is that where we're at?
I mean, we kind of already did. It was like the 2-minute thing.
Well, I love the
meme.
What
I thought yet.
Okay, yeah, go.
Jesus.
Yeah, so I honestly I thought it was extremely well handled. I liked the series of events. Like I said, I liked how she was panicking all night, and then she's like, "Oh, you're immune. All right, I'm going to reveal that I was just pregnant because I've been thinking about that all this time too." And then boom, they start. I thought that was logical and could really happen. I had no problems with that at all. I don't know how it happened in the game, obviously, but I thought it was done really well for television. The only issue that I have with this scene is Bella Ramsey is I don't get it. Like Dina is practically like a 10 out of 10, and then you average them together, they're like a 5.5 if you average them, because Bella Ramsey's like a 1 out of 10. It's like it would be like if I was hooking up with Sydney Sweeney or something. Like the level of difference here is just massive, but it is what it is. Shout out to
Love
Dina.
is in the eye of the beholder.
Right.
Well, it's
and a lot of people. I saw people complaining that this did seem kind of like pedo-ish a little bit, which I can agree with that as well. But
I mean, the actors are both in their 20s
legal.
and they're 19 in this. But yeah, I understand it.
Yeah. But overall, I don't mind it. You know, a little lesbian romance is cool with me. I got no problems with that.
I loved the meme though of like, so the next morning they wake up and she's like, "Oh, morning breath, I can't kiss you." But it's like, but they were doing what they were doing the night before, not showered at all. I'm like, you can't kiss, but you can do all that. Okay, yeah, I believe you.
And then to cure the morning breath, they have beef jerky. Like, come on. Yeah, I'm sure that smells great too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So then the next morning they wake up and they just kind of talk about how Dina's. You get that little pass about Dina's past. So she's like, I told my mom I like boys and girls, and her mom kind of was like, "No, you don't. Like, you like boys." And even then she was like, I really do like Jesse. He's a great guy, just not the one for me. I did think we did get a little bit of that Ellie humor. I know people are criticizing, "Oh, I'm going to be a dad." That is very Ellie humor.
It is. I could see Ellie saying that. I did like she was like, we're having a baby, and then she's like, "Oh, and him, I guess, and the father too, I guess."
Yeah, and I don't think she's being 100% serious when she says that. She's not like, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to be a dad now."
Well, yeah, it's her sarcasm, but I just found it funny that like she instantly inserted herself. Like all I was getting, obviously they're not going to do like this is a one night stand kind of thing, but in my mind I was just kind of thinking like, wow, really pretty bold to just act like you guys are already a couple after one night of finger banging. So when she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna be a dad," Dina kind of had a look on her face of like, it's like, yeah, it ain't your kid. What are you doing? But
just going to adoption.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so then, then the radio goes off.
Yeah, the radio goes off, and then they run out. Yeah, then they run outside, and they look out, and there's like that whole there's explosions going on. We assume as viewers, we're assuming there's a battle going on between the Scars and the Wolves, and Dina and Ellie grab hands, and they're like, "All right, we know what we're gonna do." I know Ellie tries to convince Dina, like, "No, you're not doing this," but Dina's like, "Nope, I am gonna do it because I'm here for you."
Yeah.
And then, yep.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, go on.
I was just going to say, Hodge earlier had a criticism about how in the game, I guess Ellie was like, no, you're a liability. I don't think
Yeah.
you should come with me.
Yeah.
And I think in this one moment of the show is kind of where they sort of addressed it, where Ellie was like, look, you don't have to come. You're pregnant. Like, you just go do you. I'll go handle this.
I also think that they have to, like, in the game, you have a lot more hours to, like if you think about it, like they had a lot more time to like drag it out, whereas in the show they don't have as much time to drag these things out. Especially with there's only 3 episodes left after this, and we already
wow.
and they already they did confirm
There's only 7
that
episodes.
yeah,
Wow.
there's only 7 episodes per the season. Obviously, they have another season too, but we already know that. Well, we're assuming one episode's probably going to be a flashback episode, like a whole episode is going to be a whole flashback, or a good majority of it. So I don't think they have nearly as much time to drag that out, and I think that was just kind of one of those creative freedoms where like we're not gonna, linger on this for a whole episode where Ellie's like, no, I'm going off by myself.
I wonder if oh my god, are they? Oh, I already know which one of the episodes is going to be, but are they? Man, are they really going to just do the day 1, day 2, day 3 each one episode? That'd be so stupid. But
Maybe we're gonna. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see.
Because obviously they're definitely gonna have to do the flashback episodes because
Well, day 1's already technically over. I mean, they woke up.
I
the
know
next
that's the
morning,
thing
day
is
2.
there's 3 episodes left. One's gonna be a flashback because they're gonna have to do I'm not gonna spoil what it is, but they're gonna have to do some more Joel stuff because I doubt Pedro Pascal's gonna come back for season 3 because
I think he will. I think there'll be more flashbacks.
I don't think so because now he's Mr. Fantastic. He's doing Doomsday and stuff. Like I mean,
Well,
unless
they
really
probably already
Marvel.
recorded his scene.
Oh, that Marvel crap.
I mean, unless they delay season 3 again, like have 2 years between it, like they did with this. He's pretty busy being Mr. Marvel now. So, and Mandalorian he's doing still. So
and every other role known to man.
and he's in fucking everything. But which, according to one of our friends, it's because Hollywood's afraid to cast new people right now, so they're just putting Pedro and everything. But that's some insider stuff.
Isn't that like the same thing? Isn't that like the same era? Like that happens to, like an actor like every like 10 years basically.
Well, yeah, I mean like Chris
Pretty
Pratt
much.
was in everything for a while, but
Yeah.
but yeah, that's what the pacing's gonna be. I don't like that, but and it's gonna be.
You thought the pacing in the game was too slow. Now you think the pacing's too fast. No one can please you.
I didn't think the pacing was too slow. I thought it was bad that they did 10 hours of Ellie and then 10 hours of Abby, which mean if season 3 focuses on Abby, they're going to lose even more viewers because no one's going to care. Apparently
they're not losing viewers this time. They're getting a lot more viewers than season 1 right now.
I'm pretty sure I heard that that it dropped after Pedro got killed, but I could be wrong, I guess. But anyway, yeah, that ending, I thought, well, I guess I found it not crazy. I found it surprising that, I guess not too surprising, because in the game, she does stay behind most of the time, and you do go out solo as Ellie for the majority of the game. So I was actually kind of surprised, but I guess it's just to keep the actress in the story. So
yeah,
they are going to do this together.
We don't actually see them go out yet, so we have no idea. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it could be one of those things where I'm gonna try to go out and then no,
they're gonna put her to sleep again. But no, I did not obviously not gonna spoil anything about any future episodes or anything, but I saw that they're going to the hospital, so I'm excited for that. I actually loved that part of the game, so I'm excited for that part. So I hope they do that justice. But yeah, so this was my least favorite of the season so far, but I don't know. Still got 3 episodes to go. Hopefully, I'm looking forward to the flashback episodes because those were also parts of the game that I loved, like genuinely loved. So I'm excited to see how that plays out. Hopefully it's good, but yeah.
Yeah, I really liked the ending a lot. I thought it was awesome. Cool scene of Seattle all run down with explosions and the gunfire. I liked how, like I mentioned, that Ellie gave her the chance to be like, "Look, you're pregnant. Like, you don't have to do this. Like, it's fine. Like, you can go home or you can do whatever. I'll handle this. But she's like, she thought about it for a second, and then like she's like, no, I'm with you. And they held hands and shit. That was cool. I like it. I would say this was probably my least favorite episode. It's this or episode 1. This and episode 1 I thought were like the most mid of the episodes, but I still like them. I think the best ones. They were the worst two. The most mid of the 4, I would say. But yeah, I think the best episodes were 2 and 3 for me. So 1 and 4 are battling for the bottom, but all have been good. Like, there hasn't been an episode where I was like, oh, what, this was shit. It hasn't happened yet. So
yeah, this one is my least favorite, but it's kind of it's fine. I'm not huge on it, but one thing I forgot is I wonder if Tommy's going to play a role at all in this, because he was a huge part of the game and now he's just completely sidelined, not even talked about. So I'll say this just because it already happened in the show, so I can't really spoil it. When they go to that tower where it has Wolf up on the satellite, Tommy was already there. And so they see the corpses, like, there's no way Tommy did this, did he? And then they find the dead Wolf, and Tommy did do that one. And so they
spoiling everything, bro.
Yeah, well,
dude, it's 5 years.
it all happened at that place, so I'm not spoiling anything there. But so I was like, so they completely took that part out, and so now it's just the Seraphite. So I'm just wondering if Tommy's gonna have any role in this.
I have a feeling he's gonna show up in the finale.
Yeah,
he'll show up when there's someone in need of saving. It'll be like a big moment. He'll save the day, probably.
Yeah, I can
my
see
guess.
But I don't know. I did like Tommy better, what he did in the game. But I guess we talked about they set him up to having to stay in Jackson and be the leader because of everything that happened with the invasion and stuff. So it's whatever. But I was hoping we'd see more of him because like I said before, I love the actor who plays Tommy. He's doing such a great job. Tommy's a great character, so I want more of him. And so it kind of sucks that they're sidelining him right now. But yeah, hopefully these last 3 episodes are good.
And that was episode 4. Yeah. So, like we said, leave us some feedback, leave us some comments about what you thought of the show. But yeah, we will read them next time. Again, this is our nice recap of episode 4. We will be back next week for our recap of episode 5. Also, Hodge and I will be doing, like I said, a Claire Obscure Expedition 33 spoiler cast where we're going to spoil the crap out of that game. Very good game. You can hear our full thoughts about the game on Saturday. Also, please check out our mainline episode this last weekend that we did on our biggest gaming disappointments, where we talk about some of our games that we were hyped for, and then we're like, wow, I can't believe we were hyped for that. You can also, we had a really fun discussion about terrible games that we 100%ed, and Ice Age, there we go. Scrat's Nutty Adventure. If you know, you know.
And Adventure Time.
Yep. Same developer that we discovered mid-episode.
That was great.
But yeah,
and Midnight Mass Effect.
Very different. Very different.
Yeah.
All right, and that was our episode. Let's just go around and say bye to the audience, guys.
Me first?
Yeah, go ahead, Hodge.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah, goodbye, everyone. This has been fun. Like Sean said, everything. Subscribe, all that stuff. And would you make love to a potato? Let us know in the comment section below.
And with that, we're out.
Oh, and in Sydney Sweeney, if you're listening, I am interested. Hit me up.